Hello, and welcome to our fourth family history video. This one is called Genealogical Websites, and we'll learn a little bit more about family search and some other websites. The purpose of this class is to learn about or find information about your ancestors that may be recorded on another website or maybe research that someone else has done, a distant relative. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we can begin. If I can get it to move. Okay, I'm taking you back to familysearch.org. Go to the tree menu and go to tree. This will take you to your tree. This one is in a fan view. Then choose a person. Remember, we're looking at one family that lived in the 1800s, and we're going through this whole process with one family. So choose somebody from this family. And here I have Joseph Farrell Palmer, and I can choose person, or I can choose his name to click on. This will take me to his person page. And on his person page, there are details about his birth, death, and burial. But this time, I want you to pay attention to this menu bar underneath his name. So we have sources, and it says we have 31 sources. Additionally, it says there are 6 memories. This time, I would like you to go to the Memories tab. And in the Memories area, you typically will find photographs if somebody has uploaded photographs. And those are always nice to see, but I want you to look beyond the photographs and notice there's a section that says documents. In this particular document section, there is an obituary and there is a funeral memorial service program uploaded. So these probably do not appear under the sources, but they are here in the documents. So I want you to be aware of anything that might be here, because it may have information that will help you in your research. Next, go back to the search, the top search menu, use search, and then in the drop-down menu, there's an option for catalog. This catalog is the catalog of all the items found at Family Search, the Family History Library in Salt Lake. And so it's a catalog of everything there. I want you to search that. So go to catalog. Excuse me. The catalog typically has a default for place. This time, rather than searching for place, I want you to search for surnames. So when you click on surnames, this field will pop up. I'm using a surname in my family, which is Youngman, and it is kind of unique. If you choose a surname that is very common, for example, Davies, Jones, Johnson, you may want to also put something in the place field like a state. Then click search. And these are the results. I have 31 results for just using the surname. Then look through the list of things that appear. And all of these things that appear are things that say they have the surname Youngman in them. So many of these things are books. Here we have a newsletter, a collection of genealogical information, descendants, these would be books. I chose this particular one here that says is estate papers of John G. Youngman, died 1871, Northumberland County, Pennsylvania. So if any of those look interesting, go ahead and click on it. And then you will get some details about the collection or the book. In this case, we have estate papers, and we see this red link here. This means that these estate papers or this book has already been digitized. And so I can click here and actually see the images. So here I have the images. And if I look at the details, I see the creator, the title, the subject, and the page count. In this case, it's 807 pages. Now, even though this has been digitized, it's not indexed. So if I choose to look at that, that's a rather large one. I can go ahead and click there to do that. Another search I would like you to make at Family Search is, again, go to the menu item that says search, and the drop-down menu, choose books. Under this books page, you will find digitized genealogies, local histories, and it says maps and yearbooks and more things, but they all apply to genealogical research. These items have been digitized and contributed from libraries around the nation, and the collection is continually growing. So go ahead and search here. It's a keyword search. I would suggest you use your surname. And in the example I'm showing you, I am using the surname Rue or Rao, R-E-A-U-G-H. It's a little bit unique. I got some results, and the first result that I got was actually interesting to me. It's a book that's called A Complete Family Record, Descendants of Reuben Gunn, Bernard Sweeney, and Samuel Rue, and Reverend James Dunn. Now, these books are typically written about immigrant ancestors and includes their descendants. So we have 4 men listed, and this book is probably divided into 4 parts and will list the descendants of these 4 men. Well, I'm interested in the Rue section because I'm not sure that I am connected to Samuel Rue, but maybe my ancestor is listed as one of his descendants. So I want to go ahead and look at this. I can log in. Actually, I don't know why that says log in. It's actually access the book, but you do need to be logged into Family Search to access it. I click on that and I get the image, the title page of the book, and I can see that it is divided into 4 parts. I go to the section for Samuel. And this section starts with Samuel and tells me some information about him. And we can see right off that Samuel and his wife Ellen were born in Ireland. Tells us when they were married, it gives some biographical information, lists their children, and in this case, it looks like they had 5 children. Then it begins with the first child. And this section will continue listing the children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, but you will probably have more biographical information about those in the early generations. Those in the later generations may just have names and dates. So in this section on John, in these books, they always want to record information about exciting information, good stories in the family. And we can see that John's section starts out that he was a soldier of the Revolution under Washington. And then it says he moved to Kentucky. Right after that, it introduces his second wife. It doesn't even mention his first wife. And then the next sentence mentions her father. So this is in actuality John's father-in-law of his second wife. But apparently this father-in-law has a story to tell. And it tells a story about Charles being captured by Indians and tied to a stake and escaping with the help of an old squaw. And as he escaped, the Indians caught up with him. And down here it says, one of the band threw a tomahawk at the fugitive, but another, throwing up his arm at the same time, broke the force of the blow. The weapon struck him just above the eye and put it out, but it did not knock him off his pony. Thus, he succeeded in making good his escape. Now, you would never expect to find this story looking for the Rue family. This story is about Charles Boyle, but I wanted to show you this example because when we're researching, sometimes we research too narrowly. Think of the maiden name of the wife who marries into the family. And then you may want to search that. Think of the surnames of the people marrying the children in the family and search those people as well. And you might find information about your family. I call this researching in a horizontal way. Okay, our next website is Out of Family Search, and this is the catalog for the Library of Congress. And it has a catalog of their collection. So these books, most of them would have been published in the United States. This form or field right here in the middle underneath the name is the search field. So again, you can search for your surname and add maybe family. So that would specify something that might be of genealogical value. I put in one of my surnames, Schultnick, and these were the results. And the second entry here is an entry about a book written by a man whose last name is Schultnick. And it's written about a location where my family actually lived. And so if I click on that link, I will get more details about that book. And these are the details about the book. If it looks like it's very interesting and applies to your family, you'll probably want to save the record. Then you can go to a library and see if you can request that record or see if they maybe have it. Many of these books might be at the Family History Library. So the details about this book are listed here. It says the contents include some early settlers of Frederick and Carroll counties, Maryland, and it goes on. Down under notes, it talks about some biographical information, which is, of course, something we'd like to know. If our ancestors were published in a book, this is going to be helpful to us to research. Another site that is good to go to is Google, but it's Google Books. So it's books.google.com. In this section of Google, they have digitized books that are out of copyright. And so many of the books are older, which these happen to be the books that we're interested in. Go ahead and search here for a name in your family. But when you search, make sure that you are putting quotation marks around the name and include a year of either birth or death and a state. And so you can see at the top here, my search parameters happen to be Jacob Youngman, and 1825 happened to be the year he was born, and then Kentucky. And the first result happens to be him. In the history of Harrison County, Missouri, page 405, he appears, and it begins to tell me something of what is on that page. There may be other books where he appears in, but this gives me some great information to begin with. The next place that you could search is worldcat.org. This is a world catalog, and it's a catalog of universities around the world. And so it's really good for international research, but you can also use it for US research. Again, you would search on your surname and family and see what you might get. You probably want to add a location too. The next website is a volunteer-run website. This is called usgenweb.org. It is a free website, and it's been around for a long time. As you look at it, you may think that it looks a little bit out of date, and that's because it's been around for a long time and it is run by volunteers. What I would like to bring your attention to is the map on the front page. You can navigate by using that map. You should go to the state where your ancestors lived, and there's a state page for each state. Each state page looks different. This happens to be the Kentucky state page. From this location, you can then choose a county and go to the county page. I chose Breckinridge County in Kentucky. It gives us a little brief background of Breckinridge and then gives us some information about projects they're working on. Now, the goal of this site is to provide information for free to the public. And so these volunteers are doing things like going to the local cemetery and transcribing the tombstones and then putting that information on the website. They may also go to the local county courthouse and transcribe an index of marriage records and then make it available on the website for free. So they're going to put information specific to the county that you're working on. And if you can search to see what's up there, you might find something that you can't find in other places. A sister website is called worldgenweb.org, and this one covers the world. And it has sub areas or sub pages for South America, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and Australia. So you can go to the area or the region that you're interested in, and then drill down some more. Here, I've chosen Europe, and then you can navigate to any country in a similar way like you did for the states in the US. And there will be information and guidance for genealogical research. Another website that's always good is Google. Google is your friend. And again, you can search for your ancestor in quotation marks. But if I search for my ancestor as it stands here on the screen, I'm going to get back living people. And that's not what I want. So I'm going to put the name in quotation marks, and I'm going to follow that by a year and a state. And this will give me results of my ancestor or a deceased ancestor. Here I get a lot of websites where his name is mentioned. And the one that's of most interest to me is this one down here. This is a personal website for this man, Tim Jansen. And he has uploaded his research for his genealogical research and made it available publicly. And so we see my exact ancestor is posted there. And I can visit that website and look at any information that he might have that I don't have. Another website that I would suggest you go to is ancestry.com. Now, when you go to ancestry.com, you need to do it through the partner access through Family Search. This way, it will be free. At Ancestry, they have a black menu bar at the top. Choose the search option, and there will be a drop-down menu that appears, and then choose public member trees. These are the trees of people who have Ancestry accounts and have chosen to make them public, available to anyone who wants to search. So search then for an ancestor here, and then look at your results. I searched for one of my ancestors, John Lewis Schulteneck, and I got lots of results. If you get lots of results that look similar, look at the information closely to see if any of those trees or those results look more complete than the other. If they look similar, for example, the first result and the second one look very similar, the next thing I look at is how many sources are attached. And this first one has 9 sources. The next one has 25 sources. So I'm going to choose the one that has the most sources attached. And the tree on this one is called Reed Roderick Family Tree. I will click on that, and it will take me to a person page for John Lewis Schulteneck. I see a timeline of his life. Next to the timeline, I see a list of sources that have been attached, many census records, and then we have some marriage records. If I don't have any of that information already, I should save that and record it. Also on the side, I see his parents are listed. I have an option to see his siblings. I see his wife, and I see his children. Now, when you keep your research log, make note of the name of the tree and the owner of the tree. The owner appears at the top to the right of the tree name. That way you can get back to it later. Okay, so this is a review of what we've done so far today. We went to FamilySearch.org. We looked at the memories section for documents. We looked at the Family Search catalog and did a surname search and may have added a place search. We also looked at the digitized books on Family Search. Next, we looked at the Library of Congress. We also looked at the WorldCat, the online catalog. We looked at Google Books. We did a Google search. We did usgenweb.org, worldgenweb.org. And then last, we went to ancestry.com with our partner access and accessed their Ancestry public trees to do a search. So what we've done so far is to look for any additional information or research or books that have been published about our ancestor. so that we can evaluate the information and add it to our tree if it looks good. And this will help us as we begin our research on our own. See you next time.